Despite not adding one single penny to the national debt and having a $2.5 trillion surplus, you know what I'm talking about, Social Security, President Obama put it on the table, Social Security insurance on the table, moving the so-called Fiscal Cliff negotiations even deeper into Republican home turf. This is grim. Think about it. We're debating just how many rich people will get to keep George W. Bush's tax cuts. We're debating just how many seniors, poor people, and disabled people are going to suffer when their Social Security insurance is cut. We're debating which social welfare programs will expire. That's the kind of debate you'd expect to see between a center-left Republican and a far-right Republican. Right? That's the debate that you should have between, Dwight Eisenhower and Barry Goldwater, not between a Democrat and a Republican. When the debate is about, how much are we going to extend tax cuts to rich people? How much are we going to cut Social Security or Medicare? Republicans are going to win every time, and the working class gets screwed every time. Instead, and I hope you'll help me inform him, and to those of you at the White House who are listening, please pay careful attention. President Obama should be putting progressive solutions on the table. Things like a STET tax, the securities transaction excise tax, a financial transaction tax. It could reduce the debt by $1.5, maybe as much as $1.8 trillion over the next decade. Or cutting off taxpayer subsidies to big oil, $40 billion. Or ending the massive capital gains loophole, which sets income taxes on hedge fund managers and vulture capitalists like Mitt Romney at a stupid maximum of 15%, which is half of what working people can pay. Or common sense cuts to our bloated and wasteful defense budget. Have you heard any discussion about any of this? No! How about raising the minimum wage to stimulate the economy and thus increase tax collections, which would reduce our debt? Heard anybody suggest that? I don't think so. How about breaking up the big banks so that we don't have any costly deficit expanding bailouts in the future? I mean, you just had a bank that was convicted of supporting terrorists in the Middle East who did 9/11 and narco-terrorists in Mexico. And did they go to Guantanamo? No. Did they get hit with a drone? No. They paid a little fine. It was just the cost of business. Why? Because they're too big to fail. To hell they are. They are not too big to fail. And beyond that, sending most of their senior executives to prison would not kill the bank. How about creating a single-payer healthcare system to cut in half the health insurance costs or the healthcare costs in the United States, put them in line with the rest of the developed world? Why are we discussing these things? If all of these things were on the table, there could be an actual debate that genuinely reflects the political leanings of this nation, which is a center-left nation. More than half of all Americans, in most cases more than 60, 70, 80% of all Americans, want Social Security strengthened, not weakened, benefits raised, not cut, cost of living adjustments, more accurately reflecting inflation, not less, want Medicare strengthened and expanded, not cut or voucherized. But none of that stuff is part of the discussion right now, which shows not just the weakness of President Obama, but, and it pains me to say this, the weakness of the progressive movement when compared with the hard right movement, which is funded by cranky billionaires like the Koch brothers and Sheldon Adelson, which takes us to the 5 wackadoodles on the Supreme Court. But don't get me started on that. Labor unions, which have historically been the vanguard of the progressive movement, are crippled. Right? Ronald Reagan kneecapped him. Independent media, print, radio, television, you name it, used to carry the voices of average working people, local stations all across America. They've been bankrupted and sold off to large corporate media outlets that pump out lies and misinformation that promote the billionaire's agenda. They call it right-wing talk radio. And Fox so-called news. Well, actually, network news. What can you say? Let's talk about Casey Anthony. Yeah, that's important. Essentially, the progressive counterbalances in America, which for several generations kept in check the corporatists who wanted to destroy FDR's New Deal, and that held the Democratic Party in line, those balancing forces are largely gone. When Reagan busted Patco in 81, he didn't just kick off a 3-decade-long assault on labor unions. He also kicked off a 3-decade-long assault on a once progressive Democratic Party. Remember, if some of you are old enough to remember Lyndon Johnson's Democratic Party. I mean, we were very upset with him about the war, but this guy cut poverty in half in the United States. Created a not just an African American middle class, but in many parts of the United States where there was a lot of poverty among white people, a new white middle class. Help just like I was going to say the progressive Eisenhower. He was just Eisenhower was in today's parlance, I guess, a radical progressive Democrat, but back then he was a moderate Republican, and he built a middle class, and so did Lyndon Johnson. And that tradition seems to have died. This all-out assault on the American middle class, which is being led full charge, full-throated, full bore, riding down the street in their chariots by the Koch brothers and Shelley Adelson and Karl Rove. I mean, just those three. Spent over $500 million in the last election. You know how much John McCain spent in the entire election of 2008, the John McCain campaign? $600 million. Maybe almost $7. Just those three people spent $500 million. I mean, tell me this isn't just completely out of control. This assault is now reaching its peak. Republicans, and here's the proof of it. You got right-wing Republicans and President Obama sitting down like they're at Thanksgiving dinner, getting ready to carve up the turkey of the New Deal and Social Security insurance. Yeah, let's shave a little off here with a changed CPI. Let's shave a little off here with, come on. And they're doing it because there is no counterbalance. It's not there. I mean, there used to be that the unions were the counterbalance. They were strong. It used to be that just common sense in America was the counterbalance. It was strong. It was echoed in the media. It used to be that the weekend shows didn't just show the inside the beltway cognoscenti, but then the creep toward the political right began, and it's continuing relentlessly. President Obama has given in to the Republicans over and over and over again. And if we want to do something about that, we need to remind him that he's the president. He's armed with a bully pulpit. He's no longer facing re-election. He's free to be true to his progressive community organizing roots. There's still hope. FDR didn't campaign on bringing revolutionary change to America in 1932. He was forced to do it by a nation suffering through a Great Depression and radicalized by the damage done to us by millionaires and banksters. The New Deal was in part a response to occupations, Hoovervilles, and a genuine sense of outrage across America about the looting of our country by the very rich. Today we have, it's weak, but it's there, the Occupy movement. You got organized labor, they're weak, but they're there. You got the environmental movement, it's growing. We're beginning to build a progressive base that can counter the billionaires' money. We're not strong enough yet, obviously, to push the White House in the direction we need to, but that day may come, and you and I need to make it sooner instead of later.